Sorry. Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to Humanity Unboxed. Michael, I'm glad to
We,
see you.
let's rip that box open, baby.
Yeah, let's rip the box open.
Because there's
Alchemy.
too much
Trust.
system relevant. No, you can't be in a box. I
No.
mean, that's what I last wrote you about the creativity. That's why you and I love so much creativity and we don't say, oh, it has to look a certain way. It's like that we talk about trust, right? It's the trust that you can actually trust the most what comes out of you, right? Your
Yeah.
expression of your one-on-oneness
Yeah.
is actually the trust that you can really trust, not a generalized
Mm.
religion or anything, which is generalized. I'm not against religion or against the person that religions are made for. I
Yeah.
always rely to Jesus, not to or to Buddha, not to the Buddhism or the
Yeah.
Christianity.
Yeah.
Because we are all one, and you cannot generalize. Say, okay, that was Buddhism for everybody. That was Christianity for everybody. That was Muslim for
Mm.
everyone. Or Judaism. It's just you can't. And I see also the science forces us always to be generalized. So nothing is in science uh, accepted as science, because if it's not for all women, for all this
Yeah.
race, or for people with that blood type, even, it's
Yeah.
always a generalization. And we
Mm.
know even the blood type, or even the certain whatever they find, chakra work or whatever, it's all
Yeah.
different. It's never the same.
Yeah.
It's a general thing. Okay, that's creativity, sexuality. The second, you know
Mm.
the bottom is security. But how you interpret that as one of eight,
Yeah.
safety for you and me is completely different, perhaps.
Yeah. But they are guides. They are.
The
They
guy,
are.
yeah,
They are.
to give you a reference, a context.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, context, and then you can bring it to yourself. So
yeah,
it all starts, as we always say, with kind of who am I? Know
yeah,
thyself is
yeah.
the basis of it all.
Hmm.
It's like blood pressure. I always think of you specifically, actually, um, with a baseline. It's
Hmm.
no use in saying, "Oh, you have high blood pressure" or "You have high cholesterol." I actually heard a very interesting thing today about cholesterol, that most of the people that have lived the longest have had the highest cholesterol, which was very interesting.
The
Because
body is, I think, 98% cholesterol. The body. Okay,
yeah,
so
so I
how
mean,
can
we
it be
can't
poisonous? How can it be
we can't
poisonous?
generalize. We can't say, oh, you shouldn't eat butter, or
Yeah,
you shouldn't eat meat just because I decide not to eat meat. It's
yeah,
got nothing to do with your body, um,
exactly.
or my body. It doesn't mean you know what I mean.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that we all need to do it the same way, but we can look at generalizations and see my fly is back. He hasn't been here for a week.
It's your
um,
spirit guide that wants to just, wants to
yeah.
be also physical, so it gets better understanding of our conversation.
Yeah, awareness. I'm very aware of it now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it is about the baseline of who am I? And I
Hmm.
named this episode The Alchemy of Trust, because this is our season, is the alchemy of trust. And
Yeah.
I think alchemy is an interesting thing because it originally talks, it refers to changing lead into gold. That's what alchemists did. But
Yeah.
in that process, they had to break things down. So I think often in our journeys in unboxing humanity and
Yeah.
kind of getting in touch with ourselves, we need to melt down the lead, break down the belief systems, break out of the boxes and realize that there is no box. Um,
Yeah. But
but
we imagine, we create it with our, because we are the collaborative creator species of nature, right? Because no species creates New York or cars or Tesla or goes to space. We are the collective, and it's never gone by one. Not Elon Musk creates that, but a
mm,
collaborative. team of people, and that's our species. That's our drive. That's why creativity is so important.
Yeah.
And so we then create a system that is generalized and said, okay, let's all, do this, not eat cholesterol, or not do this, or not do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or be Republican or Democrat or whatever, Labor, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's just we do that because it's funny, because we're trying to reverse engineer what we are. See, we are everything already. We reverse engineer and says, oh, we are all interconnected, but we are interconnected. We don't have to connect to each other through any system, or say, oh, I like thing because she's a Buddhist,
Mm.
Michelle. No, I like you
No.
because of your one-on-oneness, not
Yeah.
because it's so precious to see somebody that is aware of their one-on-oneness. See,
Yeah.
the most interesting people are these that everybody loves. I like when the people that really know themselves, and they're not, and so that is a so rewarding, versus reverse engineered. Oh, you're a white woman. Oh, you're a black person. You are this. No, that's that,
Yeah.
and this general thing of we belong together, or the science. The science is only science when it fits for everyone.
Yeah, it can't, because I mean, science is an interesting one. Baum, one of the guys whose concepts I'm very interested in around dialogue. David Baum was a physicist, but he he liked looking at how do we communicate with each other,
Yeah.
outside of these boxes and these rules and
Mm-hmm.
these things that we create. And he mentions in his book, and I'll probably paraphrase it completely wrong, but it
Yeah.
comes down to, science is the new religion. No one is allowed to talk about
Oh, it's
science
absolutely
because,
it's like a
yeah,
religion. It's a
yeah,
generalization of an idea. Okay,
mm,
quantum physics, and
yeah,
now everything has to fit that. But perhaps
yeah.
quantum physics is inherently in us. We don't
Oh,
have
of
to
course. The
define
quantum,
it. We don't have
yeah.
to define it and generalize it. The same is
But
with
the whole
AI.
thing about quantum physics is the fact that there are unlimited potential, unlimited possibilities. So we cannot define it. That
Yeah.
the whole definition of it is that they are more than we can imagine.
Yeah.
We like to limit things constantly instead of we
To
had an
be in
interesting
control. To be in
conversation.
control. That's the
Yeah,
whole
but
thing.
it doesn't give us any control, because then we realize subsequently that we don't have any control, therefore we feel less in control by
Yeah.
trying to put control onto things. So why is it so? No, and it's not a question really. It is really difficult for a lot of people to make peace with just the fact that the unknown is a lot bigger than the known, and
Yeah.
because we don't know even the
Yeah.
known.
Yeah. And we're
And
so
this is
afraid.
why
We're,
these conversations about AI and whether AI can outthink us. AI cannot outthink.
never
A-
ever,
You know,
never ever.
we are not just thinking beings. We are feeling and,
Yeah.
understanding. We have these three main brains, really.
Yeah.
And AI builds everything on assumptions that we think we've made. There's no newness in anything that
Yeah.
it can't feel. So what's the point of having these conversations?
When they asked that AI, what would it be? This was on the Rick Rubin what I sent you, which was so
Yeah,
human centric that thing.
yeah,
When they asked the AI, where Rick asked the AI, is the what would you be? What would change you if you had a body? To AI,
yeah,
and it was so revealing was that AI said, I would nothing change. I would still give you knowledge. So the body is worthless. I would just give you knowledge, which has nothing to do with our limitlessness. The humans
yeah,
are so limitless, especially if they collaborate, and create, and
yeah,
without systemic. Oh, that has to be red because at Christmas you have red. No, you can have. bright green at Christmas if you want, chartreuse, whatever. It,
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I remember when I paint about 3,000 paintings. So
Yeah.
I have, and I have for a while, I always try to do Christmas cards, but they give you a Christmas feeling without the colors. And
Yeah.
still you look at the Christmas. That was my creative challenge. I said,
Yeah.
how can I do it without the dark forest green and the red and all this
Mm.
stuff. And that was the biggest challenge that I made myself. A minimal a minimal postcard for Christmas that that is that is not Christmas.
Yeah.
You should see you should see. I need to make a thing. You should see my postcards. I had sailor suits on and baseball thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I made Christmas completely my way,
Yeah.
monkeying around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and isn't that what it's about, though? Kind of
Yeah,
changing those paradigms because it becomes
boring,
habit.
boring.
It's a
Yeah,
habit.
boring.
It's just something that you do. It loses its meaning because we also lose the story. I mean, how much of these things like Easter or Christmas or
Yeah,
whatever, um, we don't know even the original story. How many people know that the moon is an indicator of when Easter will be?
yeah,
They don't, and yeah, it's sad. It's there's so much more interesting things to
yeah. And
to
not repeating a
be aware.
pattern, a
Yeah,
systemic pattern of. I mean, I see it when people get older. They don't even want to do a Christmas tree like everybody does.
yeah,
They just do it because they have to. And I
mm,
think that has not. When you celebrate something, that has nothing to do there. If you hate doing what other people do, then do your own. If you
yeah,
hate what other people do or have no Christmas tree, whatever, then you celebrate like you want. If you don't want, uh, whatever, what are we eating is on Christmas? What are we eating there? I don't know.
yeah.
Uh,
Turkey.
Turkey. Okay. What is if you don't want turkey? You hate turkey.
Yeah,
Oh,
or you don't need meat like we
oh, you
do.
don't eat meat. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, that's that. It's weird. The alchemy. I like the alchemy of trust because I think it's also given. It's not the alchemy is not something we have to develop. Like I have to find a new recipe to make gold, but
no,
we know how to transform to have gold. Or to it's like it's limitlessness. The alchemy is a limitlessness that even you can do the physical. You change it to, from lead to gold, from
yeah,
whatever. And
but a
it's
lot of
also
that,
metaphorical. It's
yeah,
metaphorical, right?
yeah. And a lot of that is letting go of the physical,
Yeah,
of the things that are we are told, like the physical rules, because those are
mm,
limitations. Like if we look at
exactly.
how we are physical manifestate, we are in this body, but we are not the body only.
Body, exactly.
We
So,
are physical manifestation of ourselves, kind of thing.
and I
Um,
couldn't wait to tell you, under trust. Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
yeah, no, I just want to say hi to Jean-Luc who's joined us.
Oh, Jean-Luc, what?
Yeah. And I like what Jean-Luc says here about AI can only be knowledgeable. Humans are skillful and
Yeah,
talented. And we had this in a dialogue this weekend about what do we know? We don't know anything really, or according to
yeah,
me. Or everything that we think we know are based on assumptions, and those assumptions are what AI will build on. It will make other assumptions, but at the end of the day, will we ever know more? Because the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. And
exactly.
yeah,
It also it's on this recruitment thing. They say if you ask now how the Super Bowl is got, they couldn't even answer because that isn't in. But in July they can. In July it has caught
yeah,
up with the knowledge, so it's always time related. So we can say, oh, we are, whatever. You hear something. Oh, is this gonna happen? And they
mm,
say it's never gonna happen because the possibility wasn't there. and life is living in the moment and respecting in the moment. And I couldn't wait to tell you about the trust. I worked with grad student a lot with kids, but I didn't work with preschool kids. And I worked now on Saturday. I worked with for 3 hours with. I was just there. She said, "Could just help," but you can't just have me there. So I and she had this lady. She had all these colors and paint stuff. Every preschool kid went to the paint, wanted to paint and crayons. Every There was not one that wasn't interesting. There was a boy that was shy, and he was there, also a preschooler, and he was she didn't want to get in contact with anybody. He was just there, and then the kids don't care. The preschooler don't care. There was an artist friend from me. He's a 6 foot, real tall black guy. He had a cowboy hat on. He was like, the kids just went, "Can you take that sticker off for the?" They just asked him. There was no. I was in heaven. I was literally in heaven, and I said to him, "Do you see? They don't care if you're black or not. They don't care."
But no one really cares. No one that is aware of their own being cares whether you're a woman or a man or a black or a green or I don't know, whatever the thing is. Yeah.
But the grade students, the grade kids, when they go in school, as in first grade or something, they're already conditioned. But these kids were totally not conditioned.
It depends on what they grow up with. If
I agree with that,
or if the adverts are on, like, what's it, Amazon Prime and Netflix and all these things have now started showing adverts, and it's upsetting to me. I don't like, because I don't watch normal TV, so I just watch movies or series. So
I don't watch anything.
And you don't watch anything? No.
For 20 years, I don't watch anything.
Yeah. But now if you watch these things, even the ads, there's these underlying either biases or just really bad, metaphors and things like that. That conditions, or that builds on assumptions and conditions. Jean-Luc saying alchemy is breaking down a subject to its basics, to be able to use it in different and wonderful ways. And that's exactly what we were saying. And there's a trust. So for me, in that breaking down process, I always think of breaking down to breakthrough. And I feel that that's what alchemy does a lot. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, which I think is also quite...
But it's like magic. It's like magic. It has such a bad content system. Like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's systemic. Has nothing to do with truth.
No.
That you can't be a conspiracy theorist, because if you experience something like that, then it is that way for you, and it's not because you are one of 8 billion. And to say, oh, it's magic. Oh, it's alchemy. It's these words, Oh, you have to believe in God and be afraid. Why would God make us to be afraid?
If God's all about love, exactly.
Exactly. No, because it's about resonance, that we 8 billion people resonates with each other, to get more and more feeling of awareness, God, wisdom, universe. That's what it is. It's not to be afraid. Afraid is holding you in the box. We don't want to be
exactly,
in the box.
But there's control and fear as well.
Yeah.
And with alchemy, whether we're talking about the physical practice of alchemy, because they were actual alchemists that practiced this turning lead into gold, but it's also quite a mystical, element, spiritual thing that talks about transformation, though. So taking what we have and alchemizing it, and it's kind of makes me think of the butterfly. The butterfly, the caterpillar has all the cells. I think they call them imaginary cells. So they're all there, but they all squish up, and they kind of,
Yeah.
do that thing, and then this butterfly emerges that looks completely different to the caterpillar that it came from. That it always
Mm.
was, though.
Yeah.
But it had to go through this process of breaking down to break through. And I feel that trust is one of those elements that we've lost because we can't trust. You can't trust religion. You can't trust the government. You can't trust
Any
authority.
generalization you
You
can.
can't
Michelle, just
trust.
say it like it is.
Yeah.
Any generalization you can trust. That
Mm.
women are just weak and are for the home thing, and guys are macho. You can never trust any system, even though they promise it. They say, "Oh, you don't get this life insurance," and then you're not
Yeah.
getting. It's actually a death insurance, and let's get this, let's get that. You can never trust a system,
Mm.
nor can you, because a trust is that's blind trust. That's false hope. That's we say, oh,
Yeah.
you see, this is gonna Trump is gonna make everything good, or this person makes everything good. It's
Yeah.
it has not. It doesn't matter who is on the top. You have to make it good. You cannot trust
Well, yeah.
that that person will change the world, that everything is going to be good. It can be better. It can be, but it can be better once we all experience it and all agree, yes, this is better.
But what is better? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how do we, for you, if things are better for you, is it better for everybody, or is it worse
No,
for others?
never,
Or,
never.
but it
Because
can be, because if I am, and I don't actually want to use Trump as an example because I'm
no,
tired of giving
no,
him
yeah,
attention.
no, it
So
doesn't.
if
I'm not. It's
if
has no.
Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, if
Yeah,
he does all the things that he says he's going to do, that's not necessarily good for the whole of the country. So is it then better just because it's better for some? You know what I mean?
no.
So we can't trust that. We need to be able to trust ourselves and our gut feelings, not our knowledge, not our processor, to say, hang on, I need to make my own space. I think I feel that we're going into a time where we need to be where we feel that we have not control but freedom and choice, so we can look after ourselves how we want to live. You know.
But you know what I saw with the kids, with this preschool kids, not the in the preschool kids. I thought there was a trust of being. They trusted being themselves,
Yeah.
and when they're all playing around, they also trusted the interaction. Okay, that boy is gonna hurt me. No, they were just trusting each other, and there was no. I couldn't sense any aggression.
Mm.
I couldn't sense any. And when you go into grade school, which is, they say, from 0 to 6 or 7, is when you get conditioned. And these kids were, there was no, and it was really interesting. But was very positive because I saw there was a father that has focused on on his girl
Mm.
the whole time. He was talking of it, but I saw then he never looked away. But whatever she did, she made herself dirty. She made it. It was okay. He didn't say, "Don't make this right. Don't take that. Don't do."
Yeah.
She just, I think, and there was totally peace. That was a total
Mm.
peace. That was one. And then I talked to another mother and says, "We can learn so much." And when I triggered her with this, the trigger that we can learn so much, she was like talking.
Yeah.
Yes, if the world was like this, we could all. And it was like we learn so much, and you know that, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
from kids, you learn a lot from your kids, right? And
Yeah.
from different, even from their one-on-one, it's not, oh, they are the same. No, they were never the same, and
Mm.
you learn so much because they were not the same. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know why we are so um, to be the same. Why we are so driven to be the same.
Because and maybe because of judgment, because we don't want to be judged or seen as being different, because then we're not good enough, and we tie being good enough to being loved. Maybe because there's a condition. There's
But
always
being
a
loved,
condition.
being loved is not that you are loved. It's just you resonate. Love is the feedback loop. You
But you
know,
are love. We had this beautiful, and I'd love to run this past you because I couldn't completely understand how the other people saw this, and I've been thinking about it a lot. So the question was in the group was if everybody experiences love, or everybody yeah, in the world, doesn't everybody experience love? And my immediate reaction was no, of course not. But there was a very good not argument, but point of view as to the mere existence of you is the manifestation of love. The fact that you are have form is love.
you wouldn't exist if you were not special, if you were not loved, or there was no
But you
meaning in
were
you.
love. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are
if you
love.
were, yeah, there wouldn't be. You wouldn't exist if you weren't uh, matter. If you would see, because what it is matter. Because love always gets destroyed by saying, I'm not rich enough for her. I'm not good enough for him sexually. I'm not this enough. And this is thing, you exist, and that alone means that you are worthy. Now when you're worthy, you're lovable, because
Mm,
if you're worthy, you fit into the 8 billion people that represent God, or all that
mm,
is,
mm,
and the universe. So you exist. It's almost like you have to talk yourself out of it and says, I want to experience, I'm so much loved that I want to experience not to be loved, because that's a God loves you, or all it is loves you so much that if you say, I want to be totally not loved, I want to experience what it is to be not loved, but do not matter, do not be strong, and they give you everything you want. It's like, and that, and love is never a thing you get from outside. Love is, it
yeah.
brings your and my energy. We love, yeah, there's a lot of love in our relationship, but it's the two vibrations so good, they just fit. So there are two puzzle pieces, they fit like this,
Mm,
and because of that we feel love, because we say, wow, with Michelle's vibration I feel love. And
mm.
then this is when I wake up at night and say, I need to tell her, right?
Yeah.
Because because, and it's not like we're lovers, we are attracted to each other, we need to have each other. No, you're married, I am single, but we have no, but there's so much love,
Mm,
because, and it has nothing to do with you or me. It's
mm.
the fit, the fit that allows us to resonate with the whole. See, that it's always the fit,
Yeah, but in
you know.
essence, that's all that is the collective. Is that if we let go of our processors
Yeah,
and our things that we want to change so that we can belong, or our
yeah,
little
yeah,
boxes, or if we can let go of all that, then we fit, and then
yeah.
we experience, we remember the love that we are, not that we experience or that we feel that's outside of
Yeah,
us.
we remember. Because I have not felt like this with you, for example. I'm saying, be honest.
Mm,
Uh, like, I don't know, for 10, 12 years, I have a lot of people that I love and whatever. But that fit, that where I fit, our fit is so good.
mm.
The fit, the human centric 101 fit fits perfectly in this, in the
Yeah,
vibration.
yeah,
And that's it. It's the fit. It's never the other person. It is the other person. It is not the other person. It's the other
yeah,
person that gets you to feel one with the world in the moment. It gets you actually in the moment. It doesn't. Oh, what am I going to tell Michelle? I need to really challenge her. I never. But in the old days when I was young, I did that. I
yeah.
was saying, what could I bring up and make notes and whatever.
Mm.
Not anymore.
Because
But
you
that's also
trust
age. Yeah.
yourself, that you
Yeah.
are already, you are showing up, and that is enough. You don't
Exactly.
need to create a persona or a mask or whatever it is. You
Yeah.
can just show up and be, and
Yeah.
that's enough. So there's a
But
trust element in that.
yeah, absolutely. And the system says you need to bring. You need to have a
Mm,
degree. You need to have all this stuff, which obviously I didn't have.
mm,
And so I had to find myself through not having the system relevant stuff, the generalization, where
mm.
because when we follow the system relevant stuff, we deny our one-on-oneness, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's a good place, because now John is saying hello, Michelle and Michael. So welcome, John. Really great to see you as well. Um,
Yeah.
yes,
For the last minute.
for the last minute. It was really, yeah, we've gone from trust to love back to trust. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't really made this connection that much, but there's definitely, for us to understand what love is, firstly, because I don't think we do in general. Um, in that we can trust that we can just be, because we know that we are love. We don't need to perform or be or change or,
Yeah.
you know, do anything to connect to that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
last time we talked about the trust and truth, right? And
Yeah.
now this is about the alchemy and also the which is actually love. It's actually we resolve that in understanding, which is the love is the when there's love there is alchemy, and
Yeah.
this mystical is the
Unconditional love. Unconditional love. All love is unconditional, but
yeah,
yeah, I think we forget, or we've been taught a lot of conditional love, which isn't the
because it's not a
definition of it.
doing, it's not a doing.
No, no.
Yeah. Oh,
I,
horrible! You forgot my second L. Oh my
it
god.
did. It did.
Oh my
Love
god.
is affinity. Yes.
Yeah,
What
I
is
don't care. You call me
affinity?
Carl.
Oh, now John's got me thinking. What is affinity?
Affinity
Affinity. He's saying love is affinity. What does affinity mean?
in his in his what is the affinity in your uh, perception? Because
Yeah,
everybody has a different perception of love. Either everybody has a different perception of love.
a natural liking for and understanding of someone or something. The degree to which a substance tends to combine with another. Okay. Okay.
It's I think we are combined. We
Yeah.
are combined to each other. To
Yeah.
we are combined to each other. It's the reverse engineered thing to find our combination. It's like if we go look for a dating site and we find somebody that think it's like we are always combined with every human. It's just we're in the puzzle piece we are. If I'm where there is the red part in the red part and you are in the green part, we're in the same boat of the puzzle, right? But we are
Hmm.
differently, yeah. And when we find reserve, if I'm wandering to you or you wandering to me, and we find each other, then there is this feel experience of that experience of love.
Yeah.
Because if love is not experienced, there is no love. There is love, but you have to experience it.
Yeah, maybe. maybe. Maybe
That's
love
why we
is
unbox, baby.
love
That's why we
always
unbox.
is.
Yeah,
Um
love is the alignment, the vibrational alignment of all that is, right? That's
yeah.
the thing, and we can, but we can trust that it is probably true when we experience it, right?
Well, we acknowledge it when we're experiencing it, but we can still experience it in the subconscious. I mean, it's always there.
Yeah,
Um
it's there. But if
it's
you don't
Yeah.
experience it, but it's like I'm
Yeah.
physical. If I'm not experienced my physicalness, then that's why when you're just in brain and AI, in brain and AI, you don't
Mm.
experience life. You say, if I just, I mean, young kids don't even want to have a date or anything. They want
Yeah.
they say, I don't want to be with the other sex. I don't want to be with the other thing. I don't want to have intercourse. I just let that go and be just in my brain. That's not
Yeah.
living physical.
But
That
there's
is
no
it.
balance there. We need a
Yeah, it's the
balance. So we
digital
are,
world, which is
yeah,
yeah,
we are infinite beings having a physical experience. Um, but the infinite being, as the infinite being, we forget that infiniteness, if that was a
yeah,
word.
yeah,
And if we get caught up in this physical experience.
yeah.
So I'm just going to end off here with what
Thank
John
you.
said. In the way a water droplet sticks to a surface, that is what love is like metaphysically. Um, and then he's saying, so love is represented. Yes, and there's still an experience in there, but I'm playing with this idea of, even if we don't experience love in life, because there are many people that are born into a world that they never get to experience love, but just the fact that they have been born into the world
They
is love.
matter. They matter, and
Yeah.
when you matter, see, there's no love when you think you not matter, because you erase it. Because if I don't count, if I'm not a part of 101,
Mm.
of the oneness, then what is the love? Love cannot exist when you don't feel or experience you matter. When you say I'm just nothing,
Yeah.
that's the and that's so sad. That's a really
It's very sad.
sad
Yeah.
from an emotional. Yeah,
Okay, but we won't be ending it sad. Um,
no. We
there's,
believe every one-on-oneness is limitless, and the
yes,
limitlessness, that if we want to ever experience God, we have to all be limitless, or a lot of us have to be limitless, or realize that we are one-on-one, create a part of the one. We are, as the one-on-one, limitless, a part of one. Whatever is your ability, whatever nature made you, is the whole.
mm,
Is a part of
exactly.
the whole. Is a
Yeah,
part of the whole to understand. Also, not is a part of the whole, and you never to understand it.
yeah, yeah. But we can only understand it from our limitness. We are limited in our
Yeah,
understanding, and
yeah,
that's the part that we can expand on by letting go of those structures and boxes that we think they are,
yeah,
which is more difficult than it sounds.
yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back probably same
Are we
time.
still in trust? Are we still in trust next?
Yes, we are still in trust until the end of April, which is pretty much next week is our last
Okay,
one. Yeah, so
okay.
still in trust. And then we go to creativity, which is still
Oh
part of
my
the
goodness.
alchemy of trust. Yes.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you,
it.
Michael. Thank you,
Thank
Jean-Luc.
you.